Hello and welcome back to the Collider Studio today. We're here with the amazing team behind Star Trek Prodigy. First, I just want to say congratulations on season 2. It is absolutely one of the best seasons of Star Trek that I've ever seen.
Oh, good for you.
I
loved
loved
it.
it. Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's fantastic, isn't
yes,
it?
it's amazing.
Yeah. All right.
For all of you guys, how has it been to see the fans rally so hard to bring this show back and get it saved and get season 2 out there so people can see it?
That was pretty moving.
Yeah.
I was really impressed by that loyalty. But, you know, there's no fan base like this in the world.
Absolutely.
So when they flew that little plane over Netflix and Netflix picked up on their cue, I was absolutely delighted. It needs to be picked up. It needs to go on. It's so great.
Yeah.
These guys have done, I'm sorry, you're in my way.
Who are you?
Sorry.
These guys are geniuses. There's nothing like it in
You had to
animation.
take Brett out of
Right?
it.
But you might want to say, I'm sorry. You've been stalking me all day. What do you
I
want
know.
to say?
I wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying.
Piggyback?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
It's new lingo.
What did you want to say?
All of that. You really ate that. Left no crumbs.
You guys are doing a great job. And
We just had lunch.
We were just about to lose confidence. Yeah.
you're really like following in the footsteps of the original series, which like also got canceled and brought back. And like you guys,
I know,
are just,
right?
You're amazing.
But I don't understand it. Do you?
I know. No, not at all.
Well, what do you think's going on?
I don't know.
There are no creatives as superb as these two guys in all of Hollywood. Well, you're not really in Hollywood, are you? No, maybe that's why. But I think it deserves it because the audience is vast. It's not just children; it's their mothers
not
and
at all.
their mothers and their grandmothers. And I think that's the thrilling aspect.
Yeah.
The most thrilling aspect of it.
Absolutely. Brett, Dal goes on such an incredible journey this season. And I think it's a relatable one for a lot of people. Can you talk a bit about his arc and finding that maybe not necessarily the captain's chair is not where he's needed?
Yeah, at first it was hard for me. I definitely will have to say, thinking about it when they first told me, I was like, oh man, that's kind of sucks. But looking back on it and seeing who Dal is now and what I think he needs as a character, I think this is actually perfect. I think Gwyn is ready. I think he cares about Gwyn more than probably anybody. Well, you know, but I think you know, in order to be a great leader, you have to learn how to follow as well. And I think that it's Dal's turn to see what it's like to be a member of the team as opposed to leading the team, because I mean, he's not always prepared anyway. So I think it'll be really good for him, and I'm very proud of his arc and where he's going.
Yeah, and we want this to be the first chapter for Dal's
Yeah.
gigantic arc. We want more seasons. We want to see him grow up and become a captain. And
Totally.
grow up and, you know, become a man.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, this is fascinating. Grow up and become a man?
A man.
How are you going to do that?
Well, he's purple, so I don't know. And he does have a, what do we call it, a dangler?
A dingle dangle.
A dingle dangle.
For the men.
So he's gonna grow up and
got a
become.
dingle dangle.
He's gonna grow up and become. I mean, he hasn't even named his species or anything yet.
No?
Well,
So-
then he's not a man.
He's a humanoid. He's gonna become an adult.
There you go.
Oh,
An
excellent.
adult alien. Something I really enjoyed this season was the sort of parallel between Dal and Gwyn and Janeway and Chakotay, and sort of like lining those two relationships up. So can you guys talk about like sort of textualizing the parallels between those two?
La romanza. Isn't that what you're talking about?
I mean, I enjoyed it both ways, either way.
Wait a minute.
you need to be on this show. I was saying to these guys, which we often talk about this, as long as there's tension maintained and maybe a line not crossed, just saying, guys, but the tension is high and is sustained. That's what keeps the audience really, I think, involved. Don't you agree?
Cross the
I mean, what's
line.
going to happen with you and
Cross the
Gwyn?
line.
We need to cross the line.
God only knows you didn't stand.
I want them to cross the line.
Fine, yeah.
I would love to see them in a relationship in this team. What that does to the dynamic, and also them finding, you know, love in themselves kind of for the first time, I think would be really cool to see at the same time as they're also on a larger mission. I think the stakes would raise even more. I think it'd be dope to watch.
Yeah, but I did ask this, and I am seriously asking it. How long could you keep that up? There's a story here to tell. You can't keep that romance alive forever. Somebody's got to die,
Right,
or somebody's got to suffer, right?
Relationships evolve.
Yeah. There's conflict
Do
in
they,
established relationships.
That's a good question. That's one of your questions.
What?
I will say, like, when we were working on the relationship of Dal and Gwyn and realizing that they were going to go and save Chakotay, we just felt like, what an amazing symmetry that is, where these two get to see that, and Dal learns from Chakotay that being a number one is amazing. You don't have to be a captain to be great.
And I want to add, like, we have things that we're learning about Star Trek. I remember early on in the story process, we imagined 2 chairs next to each other.
At the end, Captain Dal
and Captain
Gwyn, right?
And we thought we were like, it's a beautiful ending. And then one of our consultants like, that's a horrible idea.
That's the worst idea.
You can't. What if they disagree in the moment a photon torpedoes coming their way?
Imagine a
That's
battleship.
amazing.
Imagine a battleship. And you had 2 captains declaring to turn left, to turn right, engage, don't engage. Like what?
It's the worst idea.
It would be very it would be terrible.
Who do
It's
we
a
listen to?
disaster. Yeah.
I mean, but a breeding ground for conflict and
There you
tension.
go again.
That's true. Maybe that's what we need.
I love the journey that Janeway goes on this season, and sort of like doing all that work to get Chakotay back, and then just when you think she's retiring, this big catastrophic thing happens that brings her back into the fold. Can you talk a bit about her arc and what you'd like to see in a 3rd season?
I'd like to see a 3rd season.
I would too.
Let's be very clear about that. I think it would be very interesting to follow this relationship with Janeway and Chakotay, and we also have the Doctor involved.
Yes.
So we've got 2 of my old pals, Robert Beltran and Bob Picardo, and see where you can go with it. And perhaps I like tragedy. I like a little tragedy with my soup.
Oh,
Are you trying to kill Dal?
Why are you looking at him?
No, not me.
But you're looking at him.
Someone's got to go down with the ship.
But I don't know. I mean, where could you go with Janeway and
The death of
Chakotay?
Janeway?
What did you say?
Whoa!
Do you see that over there, Kevin? There we go.
And I'm fired.
The great thing is infinite possibilities.
Yes.
This is Star Trek at its finest, right?
Absolutely.
And these guys are going to take us there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of that ending and tying it into Picard season 1, like I cried through the whole finale, and then we get to that ending, and I was just like, if I don't get season 3, I'm gonna be so
It's
upset.
anger. It's love turns to anger. You're
Yeah.
like, oh.
So I'm not gonna say if we get season 3. I'm gonna say when we get season 3.
Atta girl.
What can fans just expect from the balance of dealing with the catastrophic fallout of like the attack on Mars, and then the new exciting journey that the kids are like going off on and exploring with this new pilot program?
I think what's most important is we wanted, it's a dark time for the Federation, we realized, and we wanted to get our characters out of that. And I think one of the major things that we do want to see is we want to grow up with these kids. Like when we get our season 3, it's going to take a little time to make. And these kids are going to grow up. To see Rock Talk, our actress for Rock Talk.
So good.
Riley, she is going to be older. I don't know how old she's going to be, but she'll probably be a teenage girl. And so now
There will be a vocal development? Is that what you're talking
yeah,
about?
like we
want to see that.
We would
welcome
never
that.
recast and get another younger actress to continue playing. We want Rock Talk to grow up along with everyone and to one day become full-fledged adult Starfleet officers.
And I also want to add, you said, like, what can we expect, like, thinking about season 3, at the end of season 2, these kids leave the space and become a beacon of light, of hope. And if we don't believe in that there's something out there past season 2, then why are we writing the show?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Tap it. Tap. Absolutely right.
Thank you. And then just sort of building off that, I love the way that this season really weaves Prodigy into the fabric of the rest of the franchise. Like you guys reference Picard, you reference the Cerritos even at one point, which I really loved. Can you talk about adding in those little references and just really sort of stitching it into the fabric of Star Trek, even if you're not necessarily on Paramount anymore.
What do you want to say about that?
I think we've always wanted to be. We never wanted it to be the show that was the little brother or little sister of the rest. We wanted to sit at the adult table, and we wanted to make sure that our show works that way and that it is canon. And so we tied as many canon things into it so they couldn't get rid of us.
But we never did it just to showboat. It was just we always made sure there was an organic reason for these characters or these little nods to be in there. Yeah,
It works really beautifully. I love it so much.
Also,
very
it's
much.
witty.
Thank
It's
you.
nuanced, right?
Yeah.
And I think that the audience goes, "Oh, how exciting!" Right?
Yeah.
It shows how deep Star Trek can go. There's
Yeah.
a lot of deep cuts.
And the possibilities are
endless.
infinite. Yeah.
And cut to black. Oh, not yet.
And just a fun one we're asking people here at Comic-Con. If you were to dress up as a character, it doesn't have to be a Star Trek character, it can be any character, and just roam around Comic-Con, what would you pick?
We have to dress up as somebody else.
Captain
you
Janeway
don't
for
have
me.
to. You could just
Oh,
be yourself.
Cleopatra.
Brett's got it.
That'd be amazing.
Captain
Cleopatra.
Janeway for me.
You'd be Janeway.
We had an idea of the perfect Comic-Con
I
costume
can do it.
today.
Go ahead.
We
yeah.
could discuss
And
this.
it's a guy who has a
Okay.
sign that says, "Line starts,
Mine starts here for exclusive.
And then people would start lining up behind you,
You just walk
waiting
You
for
just walk
something,
around.
and get a picture of how big your costume is. It's a whole line of people.
That would be
Yeah.
amazing. Well, I am speaking season 3 into existence, and thank you guys so much for sitting down and
And you're
chatting
very
with me.
articulate and you're very knowledgeable.
Well,
thank you
thank
for
you.
that.
Thank
you very
Great.
much.
Thank you. This
Great.
was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.